Welcome to ZGC. My name is Aurelius, and today we'll be playing Evolution 2 Battle for Utopia. It's kind of hesitant at the same time because we're not going to do much playing. With the Dominion's Gate completed, I want to do something different because there's a lot of good stuff in the database, that just pertains to not only Blake's journey through Utopia, but stuff that happened from the first game and lore tidbits that we got from there as well. So, and I've been planning on doing this for for a while, but with nothing to do and no updates in sight for the time being. I figured now would be a good time to start. So this will be the first video, first installment in the Evolution 2 lore section. I'll make a separate playlist and everything if you just want to come check out and learn about more or learn more about the characters, how Utopia came to be the way it was and everything. This is what this playlist will be dedicated to. So, for now, we are going to focus on, the beginning, and since Dominion's Gate is complete and we found out that Kingpin is Hegemon 7, which is the Hegemon we've been seeing talking throughout Blake's journey and everything. I think it's really important to go over Kingpin. You call me a little biased because Kingpin is one of my favorite characters in this series. So, but I think it's just a really good place to start this video because, like, Kingpin's journey and from where he started to where he's at now is just unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? So here we go with the history of the colonization. I won't read out all of these, but I'll just pick out, slight little stuff in there. Not all of these will have nice little pictures. So, um, Utopia was the first planet they found that humans found to be inhabitable, since they entered space and started exploring the stars and the universe and everything. So, because of its properties, it was named Utopia. So, the first explanatory or exploration forces that Earth sent out to Utopia discovered ancient technology left by an unknown civilization. The terraformers, the terraformers. These are the terraformers that the commander was using in the first game. If you played it, because once you clear an area, you got to terraform it. But Earth's engineers were able to reverse engineer these terraformers and make them much smaller and portable. It developed very quickly. You know, um, as you can see, a bunch of wealthy, probably a bunch of famous, because wealth and fame goes hand in hand like 90% of the time. You know, I mean, there's sleeper millionaires out there, but usually if you have money, you're famous in some kind of way, shape, or form. Just because, you know, I don't know who you are, or you don't know who they are. There are people that are celebrities in facets of the world you never know about. Like, I've been watching the last season of BattleBots, and one of the team leaders in that is ranked number 2 in yo-yo competitions. Like, you know, um, so you just never know who's out there and what somebody is capable of or what they've done. But usually wealth comes with fame. I don't know how that point got to that, but we're getting off topic. but, They built beautiful cities and landscapes and everything out here. Adam Cruz, who was an inventor, and had hi he also owned a military industrial company, Kronos. Does that sound familiar? It should. The Kronos bunker stage that we had to go through. Um, he built Green City and he made the Dominion. Um, it was just to cover. He was actually building a uh, super weapon called Phoenix, which, oh my goodness, I hope they bring Phoenix back in here. Uh, I miss dropping little missiles on Dominators in the first game with Psi Power. That was just so awesome. But he built these missiles to, combat or try to take control of Earth Federation, and he had a very serious backer by the name of Vincent Gold, who was a criminal boss, and a billionaire. So he had loads of money. He was taking his rich behind to Utopia. But Vincent Cruz was we'll get, or not Vincent Cruz. I always want to say Vincent Cruz. It's Vincent Gold. Vincent Gold, as you'll see later on, was much more than just a billionaire and a mafia boss. Like, this dude is just absolutely ridiculous, which is what we're focusing this video on. Has going through all of this. The same time all of this was going on Utopia, Earth terrorist group released the Red Plague. So the message from the commander that you all see, this is what he was referring to when he was saying, like, there's almost nobody left, or I might be the only one left. I can't remember what his exact words are. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a different video. But um, yeah, this is what he was referring to. This plague wiped out a third of the population and, you know, tore up the earth. Plague continued to spread. People wanted out of there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, with this kind of like how we are in this coronavirus time, not quite as severe. Trust me, people aren't looting and raiding shops or anything at the moment for food, or just trying to beat somebody to death, get into a car and take it to the next space platform and get off of Earth. It's not that serious, but coronavirus is a very deadly and thing, or a very deadly virus that we're all facing together. And so, I guess you just relate coronavirus to the red plague. that so this sent hundreds of ships, and I don't think they ever said how many ships these or how many people these ships could carry. So you got to think thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people are now out here on their way to Utopia, possibly millions. You know, but when people landed, they were all wanting to go to Green City. Why not? It's the best looking place on there. It's not only messing with Vincent Gold and Adam Cruz's stuff, but just in general, the place couldn't hold that. I mean, you can't fit the whole world into like New York City. I mean, you can try. I'm pretty sure we can get a good portion of people in there. I've been in New York City myself, and it's a pretty big place. It definitely feels like it. But trust me, for like every 10 people on the streets of New York, you could probably squeeze in another 3, if not 4. I mean, that's just kind of what it was. Of course, push is going to come to shove, and the refugees eventually try to get into Green City, and Cruz didn't want this because it ran the risk of exposing their thing, which General Kurbatov, uh, I actually just listened to her general's message is Kurbatov, or I forgot how he said it. I'm just so used to saying Kurbatov. I think he said Kurbatov is how you're supposed to say it, but and I know I've been saying Z. It's actually Zai or Sai or something like that. No, it's Z. It's pronounced Z. But yeah, Adam Cruz and Vincent Gold, they did not want these people in there because not only would uncover their plans to take over or power from the controlling forces that were the Earth Federation. You know, General Kurbatov was there with the Black Legion for that exact reason. That was the Black Legion's original purpose, was to expose Cruz and Gold. But hundreds of thousands, possibly, of people landing on Utopia, nowhere to go, nothing to do, and they attacked the one place they knew was safe. This triggered Cruz to order the Dominion to attack or to take out the attackers, repel the attackers. He didn't have any intention to kill them, but the Dominion took that directive as eliminate mankind. Like make this species extinct. Adam Cruz ended up dying shortly after, so he was never able to go back and fix that order, which is why the Dominion are such a huge threat. Because they are robots with this one primary directive, and they're constantly coming up with new ways to achieve this directive. The Dominion actually destroyed reactors, blew up Green City. As you see that big old mushroom cloud explosion right there. And this caused a tsunami to hit the surrounding areas, which is about where most of the game takes place, is around this area that the tsunami hit. And it took out the network of terraformers that were in place, which is part of the reason why Commander was running around re-terraforming areas. It wasn't like he landed on a deserted planet. It was just like, oh, let's make this green. No, there was a purpose behind it. All of it was terraformed before, but because of the tsunami, it caused a rapid climate change and turned a lot of Utopia into desert. And this is what broke out the Z, or Psi, if you want to say it politically correct. I will continue to say Z, because that's just what my brain thinks when I see X and I next to each other. Yeah, this opened the door for Z to start attacking. So not only do you have the people who survived the Green City attack with nowhere to go, the only place they knew was safe is destroyed, and they're hungry, and they're tired, and got nowhere to sleep. Not only do you have that to deal with, you have this secret military force on here that can probably push back these alien creatures that nobody knew about until this incident. You can see how stuff went down pretty quickly on Utopia once Green City was destroyed. Because it just unknown species. There's now killer robots on the loose too. So yeah, it was just chaos. It was straight up chaos. So Karbatov, I no Karbatov, uh, banded his troops together to combat the Dominion, but but yeah, they were severely lacking in resources, so they had to break into the Chronos bunker to produce their own weapons and bases and everything that they needed. But they eventually realized this wasn't enough, so he eventually started the Ares program, and we know what happens from there. But outside of the military forces, the surviving humans became vagrant looters as expected, hence their red faces. Kingpin with his mafia boss ways, united a large portion of these now or refugee turned marauders and into the Red Faces gang that we're so used to seeing. There's a lot more people on Utopia than just Red Faces in Black Legion. Like, those aren't the only people here, but those people are just probably weak, sick, hungry, tired, and are gonna die anyway, unless they join one of these two factions. And if none of those stuff I said before that, there's definitely the Z and the Dominion that will come and pick them off too. So I mean, it's better just to group up and make a big gang than try to strike it out on your own. And this is kind of what Kingpin did with all those refugees. Because we see them as cold-blooded killers. Like, especially you see a Harlequin coming at you, the Raider sitting there ready to throw a grenade at you. These people weren't always like this. They really weren't. They were just escaping Earth, looking for a place to stay. but, Z had a much more powerful impact on Utopia than people thought. People started following Z, you know, um, and Z started transforming people into what we know as the cultists and the priestess, and of course, there's the chosen ones and Brother Thorius. And nope, you can't go there. If you play the first game, you know who I'm talking about. Which I was just reminded recently myself. So it's not like I remember that. So thank you, everybody that's on the Discord, for reminding me of it. But yeah, this forced the Black Legion, because they're the only military force to fight a war on two fronts. And when you got limited troops, limited resources, especially, like, even if you're at full power, you never want to split your forces, because that just leaves less of a chance for obtaining your goal, whatever it may be. I served 9 years in the army. I know that, splitting up can be a good thing, but fighting a battle on two different fronts, is not a good thing, because you gotta have that ability to pump out resources to both those fronts: food, medicine, replacement troops. You know what I'm saying? A Black Legion honestly did not have the numbers or the technology or the weapons, honestly, to deal with all of them. That's why so many of them are dead and now filled up with robot parts and trying to blow us all to Kingdom Come. Or maybe some of them went the Z route and turned into cultists and priestess. So, yeah, the Black Legion has had it rough on Utopia. As you see here, Kurbatov uh, took to brainwashing and augmenting the looters and raiders from not only red facers but whatever little gangs that were around. and he basically took out, and we'll get more into it when we talk about Kurbatov because he has his own episode coming too. He basically took the fear out of these people and even his own troops so that they would go and fight and die. Just to buy him time to build these massive weapons that we've seen strewn all over Utopia, the Maximus weapons, the Zeus weapon. You know, um, no, he was just trying to buy time to get those complete, which he didn't have the resources to complete those, and to get some of those resources he needed to either go through Dominion or Z. And yeah, Kurbatov really tried. He really did, and I feel really bad for killing him in the first game. But it was just a a war, or he was in a war he didn't ask for and couldn't win. Honestly. But here we go with the Zeus project. They don't even mention Maximus in this as well. But the Zeus project, and he also launched Ares because, they wrote it Kronos Bunker. That's where Adam Cruz did all of his research and development. So of course he came across the psi power, or the way to unlock the psi powers in humans, and that's when he launched Ares. And we all know what happens from there. So this is basically how things started on Utopia and up to now have just been. You know what I'm saying? But since we completed Dominion Gate and we know that Kingpin is Hegemon 7, it's this episode is going to be all about Kingpin. You may call me a little biased because he is one of my favorite characters in this series. I mean, just how intelligent and what this guy has been through and what he's done is it's just absolutely amazing. And the confirmation that he's still alive is absolutely ridiculous. You know, he got his money through illegal arms trade. I'm pretty sure you guys heard me mention that before. And he was convicted for doing that. He was also the head of a private military company. You know, the countries after the countries merged into the Earth Federation, he legalized his services. And I'm pretty sure he still had some under the table stuff going on too, but he legalized the service and provided natural resources, military equipment, and security devices to everybody on Earth, especially after this Red Plague thing hit. His company was responsible for trying to combat that, just like many scientists and doctors are doing around the world to find an answer to this coronavirus thing. But they never did. But he did team up with Adam Cruz because, like I said, you can't throw away your criminalistic ways. He teamed up with Adam Cruz to overthrow the Earth Federation. So it's basically Cruz was the genius and came up with the technology and the plan for it, and Vincent Gold uh, put up the money. He funded the stuff. So that was the relationship between those two. He basically, like, Green City was basically built on Gold's money, which is absolutely ridiculous. That this was before he became the leader of the Red Faces. That he had that much power and wealth to do something like that, build a brand new elite city on a planet that is not Earth. You know what I'm saying? You just think about the space station and costs you heard associated with that. That's just the space station floating around in Earth's orbit. So can you imagine after 50 years of space exploration, we find a planet that's habitable? Or I mean, or you can even relate that to Mars and all the stuff we're doing, or all the scientists and astronauts trying to find out what they can about not Mars and everything. Just think of the dollar signs next to that. Next time you watch or hear something or read something about Mars, pay attention to those numbers and compare this to what Vincent Gold did. Like this dude was ridiculous. But yeah, he had his own personal bodyguard, the Vipers, that we all know and love so well. uh, with the Black Legion being a military force on there trying to stop red faces, probably from looting weaker or just tired and hungry people. I mean, if I was Krebatov, I probably would have done that too. It's just like stop these crazy marauders that are all dressed up and have hacksaws and stuff. And maybe I could get a couple of troops to add to the Black Legion so I can rip out their fear and go make them fight killer robots. It's messed up on both sides of the coin. It really is. But, Black Legion has always been a nuisance for the Red Face and vice versa. You know, um, After the destruction of the city, he organized the majority of the refugees. I don't like that they use the word marauders there because they were technically refugees that survived two cataclysmic events. I mean, you see a city go up in flames and like the picture of Green City going up. You saw that big old mushroom cloud. I see the cloud like that. I just think atomic bomb. So think something on the scale of that on top of a giant tsunami that changed the climate. Well, I mean, climate change because the tsunami knocked out terraformers, but you see what I'm getting at. And these people managed to survive two events after that, after fleeing Earth and spending who knows how much time on these ships to get from Earth to Utopia. All the inexperience and worries about just space travel. A really good show about that is The 100. It's not necessarily space travel, but 100 is a show where Earth is a nuclear wasteland, and the Earth had sent up some space shuttles with people on it to stay up there, and they had supplies to last for 400 years, which is about, or 300 years, something like that, time for nuclear ash and waste and all that radioactivity to get out of the air, and of course the citizens there, they developed their own justice system, all that, and they send 100 kids down or 100 teenagers who were suspected of being criminals. Like all these kids were going to get or end up dying anyway, so why not send them down to Earth and see if it's safe, and if it is, and then get everybody down there and establish some kind of uh, foothold back on Earth after 300 to 400 years. Their records get wiped clean. Just go watch the 100. It's awesome. But yeah, he basically took all those refugees and formed what we know today as the Red Faces. And he was killed by the commander when he was on Utopia. And now to the last part. On Kingpin, we come down here to Hegeman 7. So we do know that Vincent Gold, after he was killed by the commander, that the Red Faces took his body, or they took his brain and put it on a Terminator. And this was able to preserve his personality. I won't say soul because it just seems like such a far reach. They were able to maintain and preserve his personality, his intelligence, his does, the way he does things. They were able to save all of that. So for all intents and purposes, Kingpin was still alive. And that's kind of what Black Legion now, where we're at in the story, is trying to do with Nutcracker, and the Red Faces are trying to give the Black Legion Frisky, who was a partner in the first game. Thank you, Discord fam, again for reminding me of that. uh, yeah, uh, just oh my gosh, like Frisky, he's not leader material, so why the Red Faces would even look up to him as leader is a little beyond me. Maybe just the time that he spent with the commander could be why. And he just has the most experience out of all of them in fighting the Z and the Dominion. I could see that's a good reason why they would have made Frisky leader, but Frisky wouldn't make a good leader. But as a Terminator, he did join the commander for a brief moment to help push back the Dominion, and he just disappears for a little while. So apparently, at some point, he switched sides and is now the Hegemon 7 who orchestrated that whole thing with Major Zorin, killed Major Zorin, made a Synth of Major Zorin, and tried to take over the Black Legion. Like, this is what transporting his brain, or transferring his brain to that Terminator, and was able to keep his personality and thought patterns alive. Like, Kingpin was a boss. There's a reason why they named him Kingpin. Like, he was just a boss in every stage of life, and he's always been reaching for that ultimate power grab, and then right as he's about to snatch it, it gets taken from him. You can say the same with him being a Hegemon of Dominion. Yeah, he has power, but he doesn't have all the power. And Kingpin is somebody that wants all the power. That's going to wrap it up for this lore section. Like I said, I'm going to make a brand new playlist for this. I'll still put it on the main Evolution 2 playlist as well, but there'll be a brand new playlist called Evolution 2 Lore. And this is where these style of videos will go in the future. It's like, we got a whole bunch. I'm just going to pick and choose. Let me know down in the comments, who you would like more information on, whether it be Z, Gorbatov. Look, I'm trying to say his name right. I can't. I'm just so used to saying Gorbatov. Gorbatov. There we go. Yeah, let me know who you'd like more information on in the Evolution series, and I'll see what we got in the database, like with the story mode complete. I've got every piece of lore that they possibly have, or we can possibly come over here to Futurist and ask her some questions, which I forgot to mention in that little post update video I pointed the arrow. I totally meant to talk about it, but I completely forgot about it. But if you tap on Futures over here, bam, you got all these questions you can ask her, which is 5. And these are all people who actually asked questions, on the ask a question thing. So then that's just amazing. Like, when I post that sort of thing over to Discord, I say response, so I can let the devs know, and we can get some kind of representation as the ZGC community, especially in this game that we all love so much. Like, I mean it, like, do it. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Be safe, and I'll see you later, gamer.